Ghost Stories. With Spooky.
So I was just listening to a bunch of ghost stories, and I was listening to real estate ghost stories because I asked foreclosure on YouTube. Have you ever sold a house or put up a house on video that was haunted? Did you ever sensed anything? And he said no. He hasn't, not yet, he said. So I was listening to some YouTube channels that have experienced haunted houses, real estate. When my grandmother died, I was in her house all the time. You think it would have been vice versa, but I miss her house. I miss her. So it inspired me to tell a ghost story. I know I have a lot of them to tell, and this is one of them. So back in 2000, I would say maybe 9 or 10, I would go out in my electric wheelchair. It was the first one I ever had, first time in it. And I decided to go out on a cold winter's night for a little ride. I wanted to take pictures of houses all lit up for Christmas and the Christmas lights in the windows. I wanted to do that. So I was out there with my camera. And, I seen some cars with their trees on top of the roof of their cars and trucks. And just snapping pictures. And so I'm going up Main Street. So I go by this old mansion that has those lookout towers. And I go by that. I'm on my way back. So I swing back. It's cold, so I'm freezing. So I think I had a blanket over me. I made a blanket so I could put my feet in and then put it up on top like they used to do back in the horse and carriage days. They'd have furs on them and to keep them warm when they're out in the winter's night. So I'm going by and I stop. It's a funeral home. It was a residential, somebody lived in that old mansion. But they're now businesses. A lot of the mansions out here are turned into businesses. And so I'm snapping pictures, because I love those old houses. So I'm snapping pictures and stuff. And so then I decided to, just go home. So go all the way down until I hit, I think Spring Street. And there's a quiet part of that. You can see from me going on the sidewalk, looking up to the street, that you can see the houses way back with all the lights, And so, but I had to go by a quiet part, like there's just trees and bushes and where that abandoned business is. That's abandoned now, but it wasn't then. So I'm going up, and I'm not feeling anything. I'm not feeling bad about nothing. I'm not feeling anything until later on. So I'm going up there and I'm snapping pictures. I had an old candid camera at the time, videotaping, and I head to Battle Road or Lane. That's where the highway is. So that's absolutely isolated and no lights, but from the highway way off to the side. So there I am, just can't wait to get home. I'm freezing. And I get home, and at that time I had to manually get the wheelchair in the house, and because I didn't have a ramp until I got over here. And I get the chair in, the wheelchair. It was a Jazzy. They don't make them anymore. And I parked the chair, closed the back door, and got all warm and cozy and turned the TV on and laid down to sleep. Now this house was so haunted. It wasn't even, they were brazen. Because I had Luca at the time. I had Isaiah, Luca, and Honey from the other house. And we brought them here. Not this house, but the one I was at before I came to this one. Or transfers. And It was really, really bad, and I didn't want to be left alone in it. I mean, you could hear people down the basement. And Melissa was down there with Julio, and when he was a baby, and he talking and laughing at something that wasn't down there, just them two. I don't know what she was looking for, recipes or something. And so, because they were talking about a wedding dress left down in the basement of one of the houses, these people who just, they die and they leave out their stuff, and there was a wedding dress hanging up in the basement. That kind of reminded me of
Mine on the floor, stepdad. Stepdad.
and it just triggered this story. And so she said that she's watching her son talking to somebody. I say, I know, I'm on the computer at 4 a.m. and I hear somebody
Rummaging.
I don't know how to say that word, moving around looking for something, down the basement, and there's nobody there but me. Everybody's sleeping. And so I remember I was talking to one of my cousins on Facebook at the time, and she was up late, and I was telling her about it. She's, aren't you scared? I'm like, I'm not paying attention to it. I'm distracted on the computer. So I left out a part. The pictures that I took and downloaded on my computer, well, they had orbs in front of the mansion. There were orbs. So that meant I was followed home, all the way home, down those isolated streets, and all the way in my house. So I still have the computer, by the way. Dead, but I have it. So I go lay down on the couch and I'm listening to TV. And as I got comfortable, I hear a click. I get up. I'm like, what the heck was that? So I get up, I go to the back door. I'm still walking, I'm walking, but I couldn't walk where I needed the wheelchair, and it only got worse. And so I go and I look at the back door, and it has a bolt on it, and it's unlocked. So I said, oh, wow, that was really irresponsible of me. I got a habit of locking. I've been doing it since 1985. All the back doors have these bolts, and I just do it without even thinking, and it's unlocked. So I said, oh, okay, well, let me just lock it and go back and watch TV. So I did. I go back and I watch TV, laying on the couch, and I heard the click again, and I went. And it's almost like you're not sure you heard that, but I get up and I go to the back door, and the back door is unlocked. The bolt is unlocked again. Now, first time I blame me. Second time, I know I locked it. So, you get in the creepy crawlies, you get the chills and the goosebumps, and you lock it again. And then I go and go lay back down on the couch, but this time I'm like this, And of course I heard it click again, and I just left it. So the next day I'm talking to my cousin Shirley. Her mother's my father's sister, and they all live in Puerto Rico now. So I call her and we're talking, yakking on the phone all night. I said, Shirley, and I tell her the story, right? And by the way, when I looked at the pictures on the computer, when I download them from the phone, not the phone, the camera, was a camera. I still have my orange one. I have an orange Canon camera. They don't even make them anymore. And usually I'd be on a selfie stick when they first came out. I have pictures. And she took me out of track. Hold on. Okay. So when I download the pictures, there were orbs around this old mansion that is a funeral home now, which closed up another year or two. It was closed. And no business that went in there stayed. And so I'm seeing orbs in the winter. And outside this mansion. So I'm telling Shirley the story. And she said, the ghost is trying to get out of the house, is trying to escape. Was probably afraid of the one down the basement. Because you can hear crying sometimes, it's just a crying, almost like a banshee. It's just this cry. And I'm not the only one. The other people in the house saying the same stuff. And so she said, open the door and let it out. Now at this time, I'm at the table making pasteles with my other cousin, Gori. Gori's there with the family, her daughter, Priscilla, and all them, they're here. And we're making pasteles in the kitchen, And she said, just let it out, But she wasn't at the house, she was on the phone. So I said, okay. So I opened the door, the back door, and the back door had a window, So I unlocked it, opened it, and I said, go. And it left. And then I never heard the back door unlock anymore again after that. Nothing. But that house was so creepy. I couldn't wait to leave. And in the backyard was a little swampy. Well, because water has a lot of conductor, And I seen 2 deer back there one time. Males, 2 males in the backyard. And they could be scary sometimes because, they just look at you. And I was sitting in my white Celica at the time in the driveway, and these 2 deer in the backyard. Man, they're beautiful. They were huge. Like, where are you going? So that never happened again after that. But you'd get the chills and the creepy crawlies all the time. My daughter was married at that time, and her husband and her went to Las Vegas for their honeymoon, and she came back with the biggest towel I ever seen with the Las Vegas strip on it. And she bought it especially because it had the disco ball in it, Studio 54. And she said, this was real expensive, Ma. So I even get a chance to use it. A spirit spoke to me and said, you'll never see this towel again. You'll never see it again. That's what they said. You'll never see it again. And I never did. And she said, oh, Holly must have took it. And I said, no, they weren't here yet, Melissa. It's gone. I cannot find this towel for nothing. And when I moved out, we never found the towel. And we had that a lot, especially when I lived down the street. It was just the stories. And then the neighbors talk about it too. This may have been Native American burial grounds. There's so many in this town. So who knows what was here before us? I mean, they just tore down a 300-year-old farmhouse. I videotaped that. But all I had to do was let it out. We got other spirits in the house. I don't know if they can see each other now. I hear not all the time. But can you imagine trying to haunt a house and somebody's already there haunting it? The afterlife. And people think you live, like I hear them on YouTube. They don't believe in life. They believe that you're here and then you die and that's it. But that doesn't make sense to me, because if that was a fact, we'd all be running amok, don't you think? Because this is it. There's no consequences after death, But I don't, because I've seen too much. I mean, I saw David right here in my living room. Well, let's talk about that. So I predicted in December of 2015 that 2016 would be the year of death. People were dying like crazy in 2000. People I knew, like my Facebook was turning into a graveyard. And the first person that died was David Bowie and my father. And my father was really haunting this house I was in when he died, me and my daughter. And so he died at the same day. I remember talking to my dad the day he died. And he spoke to me. He was afraid and he knew he was going to die, and he did. Then Orlando died, my childhood friend. One of Marty's twins died. And then David died, and then some. And still people were dying every month. There was somebody that died that I knew, or a celebrity. So it's 2016. And David dies. Now, I just had talked to him because Marisol, little mama, would say, "Oh, David would be happy to hear from you. It would be nice if you called him." And I was a little like shy about it because I haven't talked to David since the 70s, And so I did. I said, "He's in the hospital, he's not doing good." Doing good. So I said, "Okay." So I did call him, and he was happy to hear from me. He was really happy to hear from me. It's scary sometimes. You know how people change, and you just don't know. Nobody wants to be rejected. Nobody wants to be intrusive and stuff, and I just won't do it. But we talked, and he mentioned something about, we were talking about it's snowing out there, and I got to get the snow shoveled, and he said if I was there, I'd go over there and shovel for you. And now mind you, he's in the hospital. Okay. And then he died not too long after that. And little mama called me, and she said he passed away. And before then, I'm sitting in the Lazy Boy. I remember I was facing right over here where I'm sitting right here, but only I was facing more over here. And in front of the door, he appeared. And the moment he died, he appeared. And he was manifesting. And it must have been surprising for him. Like, he didn't even know what was going on, what was happening. Like, this is really happening. Because the only thing that moved when he stood in front of me was his eyes. And he was like, he's coming, how do you say, appearing, And it's so hard to explain. So his body's not moving. It's just his eyes. And he's like this. And his face is like, oh my God, like he's realizing he's dead, and he's appearing in my living room. How they know where you are when they die, I don't know, but when they do, they know. So he just moves his eyes like this and looks at me like that. That's all he does, is it moves his eyes. He doesn't blink. His eyes move, and he looks at me. And I must have been looking like that because I'm seeing this. And I had goosebumps 3 times over. You ever had goosebumps? Well, I had them 3 times. Like, everything was bumps and creepy crawlies on my head. It's just crawling in your skin, And even today was dealing with that, because I think that Mama Carmen's here, and I keep waking up in the middle of the night with her number, which is 325, and so the alarm down the basement kept going off, and the lady next door kept going off, and I've got chills all over, So that's what was happening to me. Only it was 3 times of it. Like, my face, it looked. I get it. And he saw I was horrified, but I said, I want to watch this. I'm going to watch. I made myself stay and experience this so I can say, I've seen this. But when he looked at me, he saw me horrified, like I'm holding the chair like this. I'm holding myself on the chair like this to not jump, run, and scream. Okay. And I'm staring at him, and he disappeared like this, like snapped like this. He was gone. And I went, I can't, but I've seen dead people. I've seen my grandfather standing there, and 2 people died in the family after that. I've seen them. I've seen Mama Carmen when she died. When she first died, I had just got finished cleaning my room. It was a beautiful day in Connecticut. I had the window open. The wind was blowing the curtains in the bedroom. It was just blowing and flowing, and I fell asleep. And when I woke up, the first thing I saw was her standing at the doorway. Like, it was like a split second. And then I ran on Facebook, and she was gone. And I was like, so I didn't get to see her in life, but I got to see her in death, and she wanted to see me. So those are a lot of my experiences. She would burn out my lights all the time. Every Christmas light I bought, she'd burn it out. I had Halloween lights in the windows and in the silhouettes, the cat and pumpkin, burned them out, burned out all my Christmas silhouettes. She burned out all my Christmas lights. She'd have the lights flickering. She'd put on the light in the bedroom that goes on by remote control, by the way, because it's way over there and I can't reach it. So I put the remote by my bed, so I heard it click while I was talking to my mother, and you just get these chills that overwhelm your body, and then it just clicked off. I would have Gomez would be on me, and she'd be in the hallway, and I say, call Gomez. His name is Gomez. Call him. And she did, and his head, he'd look like that at her, like that in the hallway. As soon as she said, I mean, you can't make it up, and I don't care who believes it or not. It's my experience, and I find it an honor, really. There's most people that I know, but when I dream of dead celebrities, and many of them, it's amazing. I mean, my first experience was Freddie Prinze, and that was back in 2000, the millennium, when I got my first computer, which I really want to tell that story, because George Lopez on a podcast validated something I had said on a Facebook, and someone said that's something Freddie would say, and well, he said it as a ghost, and so George Lopez said something to his mother, and his mother said something that he said to me, and I was like, I'm getting goosebumps right now, like I want to cry, and so it's such validation, and so I mean you can't make it up. And that was my first computer. And I said, I want to look about Freddie Prinze, And so, should I tell the story? I was on the computer, and I was addicted to it. I love ghost stories. I was looking up where New Jersey, people that left a cul-de-sac, all the houses just abandoned with everything left in it. Jersey had a lot of spooky stuff, People just walked out and left their stuff in their house, haunted, and the zoo out there. What happened at the zoo? I remember that in the 70s when they used to have the commercials to go up to Jersey and go see this zoo up there. A spooky story about that. And I was just reading all this stuff, abandonment, explorers, these old abandoned, I was checking out Mike Tyson and 50 Cent's mansion right here in Farmington, Connecticut. I mean, I was looking at that, at the pictures. I was fascinated, And so, because we did a little bit of that, and then little did I know that in the future I was going to do some of that at the North State Hospital. So it was amazing. So a thought came. I said, let me check out Freddie Prinze. So I did, and I was reading about it and everything, and I was kind of talking to him like, it's so bad that sad that had to happen, and your career, and you made us so proud back in the 70s, because we had no identity on TV or nothing, nothing for us to say, that's us, So I started to get this really creepy feeling, and the basement door was open behind me, and I remember looking at the basement door, and I just said, well, it's 1, 2 in the morning, I better go to bed. So I do, but I have the creepiness. Plus, I was recording, and while I was talking, a part of it went mute. And then went back on. Now that I know a little more about ghost hunting, usually when that happens, somebody's talking to you. So I go upstairs and I take a shower, whatever, get ready for bed. I'm laying there. A lot of stuff happened in this house too, and I'm scared. I'm laying there and I'm very uncomfortable, where I put the covers over my head. And someone before him came and said, he's coming to see you. He's coming. Like that. And all I can see in my third eye was his hand with black gloves, black leather gloves. And I see him holding onto the banister as he's coming up the stairs. And I have the blanket over me, right? And I am petrified. I mean, I've had encounters, but I just never get used to it. Some people can, like Amy Allen and Kim Russo, but not me. Not spooky. And so all of a sudden, here he is. Now, I could have took the covers off me and talked to him or whatever, and I wasn't doing it. So he comes and this is what he says. Thank you for remembering me. Nobody remembers me anymore. Nobody talks about me anymore. And I regret what I did. I missed out on my son. Thank you. And anything else if I forgot, because it's been a long time. I did tell the story on a CD back then, so I ran into it a few years ago because I have to listen to stories when I go to sleep or I can't sleep. So I'm watching George Lopez. Was it last year? I'm watching George Lopez on one of the podcasts. I think it was Big Boys TV, something like that. It's amazing. He is a hilarious. And he is very good friends with Freddie Prinze. And he still thinks about him, talks about him. He said they would be best friends. And so him too, he said, he looked up to him because, he's very inspiring, He did what we all wish we had a chance, opportunity to do. And for me, I feel like whatever got him, it was his most vulnerable. That's where they say don't drink and stuff like that. It makes you very vulnerable. It lowers your vibrations. He was in that low vibration, that depression, and it got him. And that's why you have to be careful. That's why when Jimmy, what's his name? Jerry Steinfeld made fun of people who want to end themselves. He doesn't use that word. He uses the S word. He goes, how come when they fail, why don't they try again? Well, I didn't think that was funny. I think the reason why is because it's that moment of despair. Once you pass that, you don't want to do that anymore. It's past, until it comes for you again, It's like depression comes in and of like waves, back and forth, back and forth. That's why you have to be careful because feelings are frivolous and sadness is, comes and goes. It's just, you got to check yourself, And so that's what happened to him. It got him. And so here he's saying he's regretting, of course, because that's not what you really want to do. You just wanted to stop your head, it's getting hot in here. You just want it to be quiet, like shut the F up. And when people don't know how to meditate and woosah and calm themselves down and ground themselves and stuff like that. I mean, they didn't do a lot of that back then. It gets you. So you have to be careful for evil spirits, And otherwise he'd still be here. He would have passed that. It's like an impulse, Once you get over it and you look at it and say, well, did I really want that? What was I thinking? It's because you're not. You're in another place. And if somebody had called him on the phone or something like that, it probably would have snapped him out of it. So when George Lopez talked about Freddie Prinze's mom, telling him while he was talking about Freddie and everything, she said, thank you for remembering my son. He thinks that people don't remember him anymore. Something like that, she said. And I started to cry. I burst out crying. It came right up here and I just wailed, because it's like, he said that, but he said that to me, that, that nobody remembers me anymore. With their social media now, that we all was putting up on the Spanish station, the channels, Facebooks and stuff like that, Friday, and I was making memes of him and stuff, looking good and all that, and everybody was like happy to see that, and that was my way of giving back to him for coming to see me. I felt so honored. I really did. David Cassidy came to see me too in my dreams several times. He was playing I Think I Love You in a guitar. And I woke up to it still playing. So, yeah, I had an encounter with Freddie Prinze. And he came to me, special delivery. And I know it's under those blankets. Thank you for remembering me. It's an honor. So thank you for listening to my stories. I was just going to say the one about the Haunted Mansion up on Main Street, but I got to tell you two other ones where my prized possession, ghost stories. And I'm hoping I don't leave nothing out, because sometimes I do, like the ghost that was walking down the middle of the main street, old Main Street Road by the Connecticut River. And it's just so sad, you know, to see that. But we couldn't take our eyes off of him. And who knows what happened, you know? So, rest in peace. And Happy New Year.